In 5000 BC, the Bronze Age enables the development of the first metal daggers and later swords. By 1000 BC, swords are intertwined with Celtic mythology and ritual in Britain, reflecting their importance in society. Perhaps echoed by the Excalibur myth, swords are ceremonially placed in rivers, possibly as offerings to gods. These metal daggers are made of copper.
During 500 BC, the Jackson trebuchet is thought to have been developed in China around this time. Powered by teams of about a dozen people, it could sling balls of rocks as far as 125 meters. Around this time, the ancient Greeks developed their own siege weapon. The ballistic is a kind of scale-up crossbow. The Jackson trebuchet was long consideration to be full slower until a working model was built in 1991 and shown to be effective. It was eventually replaced by the counterweight trebuchet, which is driven by a falling weight rather than manpower in Middle Ages.
800 to 1300 AD. Gunpowder is invented in China. This leads rapidly to a primitive firearm, the fire lance, the first rocket, known as the fire arrow, and primitive bombs under the Song dynasty, 960 to 1279. New technology partly driven by aggressive neighbors like the Jin dynasty to the north.
In 12,000 to 16,000 AD, the Golden Age of Islam rescues the advances of classical civilization after the fall of the Roman Empire. Fire technology develops rapidly, and Egyptian soldiers are the first to use hand cannons and other small arms at the Battle of Ain Jalut in 1260. However, the Islamic science declines from the 17th century onward.
From 1368 to 1644, China's Ming Dynasty drives firearms technology forward. Developments include the matchlock, which eliminates the need to fire a gun with a handheld match, the musket, and the naval mine. The dynasty's new technologies are eventually collected in the Hulong Jings, a treatise of warfare by Julio Wu and Li Ji.
In 1415, the Battle of Agincourt marks the zenith of medieval longbow technology. An English army with a high proportion of archers decimates a French army 5 to 10 times larger.
1750 to the 1800s, rockets become a permanent fixture on the battlefield, having gone in and out of fashion over the centuries. Indian Sultan featured Tipu successfully developed rockets archery against the British. Leading inventor Sarah Williams Congreve developed his own version, which was the Congreve rocket.
The first submarine used in battle, Turtle, is created by American David Bushnell. The technology remains crude and unsafe for many decades. Through several subs are used in the American Civil War, 1861 to 1865.
In 1803, the British Army begins using shrapnel shells, named for their inventor Henry Shrapnel. They contains a large number of bullets released at high velocities on detonation. They are eventually replaced by high explosive shells during the First World War.
In 1836, American inventor Samuel Colt patents a revolving gun, which improves on several previous designs. Soon renamed the revolver, it is faster to reload than any other firearm and remains popular to today.
In 1851 to 1861, the first machine guns appear. The Belgian Army's multiple-barreled mitrailleuse is soon followed by the Gatling gun, a first gun that can be continuously fired.
In 1862, the USS Motive, the first ironclad warship, launches from New York. It is designed by the Swedish engineer Don Ericsson, who had came close to beating steam locomotive. Sheridan rockets is the competition that made it famous. Ericsson subsequently spent many years experience with the solar power.
1876 to 1883, school teacher John Holland builds the Fenian Ram, a military submarine, for a band of Irish rebels in the U.S. Unlike any previous submarine, it has a streamlined shape. However, the rebels are unreliable employers and Holland leaves them in disgust. The sub is never used in anger.
In 1884, Hammond Stephen Maxim produces the first fully automatic machine gun, the Maxim gun. In later life, crippled by bronchitis, he develops an early inhaler.
In 1909, Hiram Stevens Maxim's son, Henry Pierce Maxim, obtains a patent for a gun silencer.
In 1914, during the First World War, the British Army introduces the first tanks.
During 1942, the Manhattan Project, the USA attempts to build the first nuclear bomb, beginning under the direction of John Roberts Oppenheimer.
The first maser, microwave amplification by stimulated emission of radiation, is built at Columbia University. It produces a tight beam of microwaves. Originally hailed as a ray gun, it proves impractical as a weapon.
In 1960, the laser is demonstrated for the first time. It produces a beam of red light. Lasers from a myriad of uses in society and in warfare are used for targeting of missiles and other weapons, and as an alternative to radar. Various prototype laser weapons are under development.
1960 to 2000, the Soviet Union begins developing a supercavitating torpedo in the 1960s. By exploiting the way water forms bubbles around fast-moving objects, the Shobal can travel at 500 kilometers an hour. It is only completed in the early 1990s. The U.S. developed their own in 1997, and 10 years later started working on carrying humans in a supercavitation craft.
In 1974, the first taser is built after 5 years of work by NASA researcher Jack Cover. Billed as a non-lethal weapon, the electric stun gun is now used by police forces around the world. However, claims have been made that it is frequently abused and may cause lasting harm.
In 2002, for the first time, a high-energy laser is used to shoot down artillery fire. The pulsed energy projectile, a laser that could knock you off your feet, is developed.